Fun fact, the ninth largest pyramid in the world is a Bass Pro Shop located in Memphis, Tennessee. But it didn't start out that way. It was originally built as a stadium, but was cursed by a crystal skull before it opened, failed as a venue, sat empty for a while, before finally being converted into the Bass Pro Shop pyramid we know and love today. The idea to build the Memphis pyramid originally came from artist Mark Hartz around 1954. The original plan involved building 3 pyramids high atop a bluff, but that plan never went anywhere, until in the 1980s when Mark's son John Hartz created an elegant rendering for a new plan featuring a single pyramid located on the bank of the Mississippi River. The two Hartz men had no plan for how to build the structure, nor did they have the money to build it themselves, so they started shopping the idea around to the movers and shakers of the Memphis community until they finally caught the attention of John Tigrit, a Memphis local and businessman who had made a fortune having bought the patent for the Glub Glub duck for $800 in the 1950s, and eventually sold 22 million of the funny toy duck that dunks its head into a glass of water, appearing to drink it. John Tigrit liked the idea of the Memphis Pyramid, believing it would become a symbol for the city of Memphis and became the driving force behind getting the pyramid built. John Tigrit was well connected politically and was able to convince city and county officials to back the project and contribute $39 million to have it built. But he also needed someone with experience hosting large, extravagant events, as well as someone who had deep pockets and friends with deep pockets. Through a mutual connection, John Tigrit was introduced to Sidney Shlenker. Sidney Shlenker was the owner of the Denver Nuggets and the co-owner of Pace Management Companies, one of the largest event production companies in the US at the time, with 10 productions of Broadway shows, 300 concerts, 90 motorcycle races, and an assortment of arena events. He had also previously been the CEO and president of the Houston Astrodome Corporation, the parent organization of the Astrodome, and in that position he was the head of the Houston Astros, and later became a minority owner in the Houston Rockets. He had also famously organized the Battle of the Sexes tennis match between Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean King. Schlenker appeared to be the perfect partner for the project, and after a trip to Denver to meet with Schlenker, John Tigrit recruited him to Memphis to take over the pyramid's construction and event management. In 1989, Schlenker moved to Memphis to spend his full time on the project. The original plan for the Memphis Pyramid was for it to have a Hard Rock Cafe location, a music museum, a college football hall of fame, and a theme park called Mud Island, in addition to being a sports arena and stadium. But the partnership between John Tigrit and Sidney Shlenker soon collapsed. In May of 1991, Shlenker was swindled by a Vegas con man who told him he had secured an $80 million loan, but the loan never arrived, which left Shlenker owing more than $16 million to 20 creditors, leading him to declare bankruptcy, and leaving John Tigrit, the city, and the county holding the bag and having to complete the pyramid themselves. The Memphis Pyramid opened in a semi-completed state on November 9th, 1991, and the first event was a disaster. The first event was a concert by the Judds, and when the crowd started using the restrooms, as people do after a few beers, the city's water transfer station couldn't handle the load, flooding the arena with sewage water. This disaster led a number of people and media outlets in Memphis to proclaim that the pyramid was cursed, because in the fall of 1991, construction crews had found a small metal box welded to the top of the pyramid, and inside it was a small crystal skull. Tom Jones, who worked in the office of Shelby County Mayor Bill Morris, got a call from the company the city had hired to finish construction of Pyramid Arena after Sidney Schlenker had been ousted from the position due to his bankruptcy. The management company said their crew had found a strange metal box welded to the top of the pyramid, and he should come down and have a look. Jones and 4 other people climbed the stairs to the top of the pyramid, where they were met by a construction worker who went up on a ladder and pried the box loose. They then took the box down to the conference center inside the pyramid, where Paul Gurley from the city mayor's office opened the metal box. Inside the metal box was a hinged wood box covered in blue velvet. When the blue velvet box was opened, a burst of dust that smelled like incense was released, and inside the blue velvet box, covered by a velvet cloth, was a small crystal skull, about the size of a fist. The men were stunned. Tom Jones was put in charge of the skull and brought it to the Shelby County Administrative Building and locked it in one of the finance department safes. Although the unboxing was recorded and photos of the crystal skull were taken, no authenticated images are known to have survived. Jones soon learned that the skull had been put there by Isaac Tigrit, son of John Tigrit. Isaac Tigrit was also the co-founder of the Hard Rock Cafe and House of Blues franchises, and as we had discussed, in the original plans for the Memphis Pyramid, it had a Hard Rock Cafe location inside it. When Tom Jones told Isaac they had removed the skull, Isaac said, "They have no idea what they have done." Isaac was a devoted follower of Indian guru Sathya Sai Baba. When Isaac was 27, he had been driving drunk in California when he lost control of the car and careened off a cliff. While midair, a man had materialized, wrapped his arms around Isaac, and held him as the car smashed into the ground. The car was totaled, but Isaac walked away unharmed. Years later, while browsing a bookstore in London, Isaac saw a book cover with a photo of the man who had saved him. It was Sathya Sai Baba. Isaac traveled to India many times in the following years, visiting Sathya Sai Baba, eventually working with him directly and donating upwards of $10 million to Sai Baba's mission. Upon further questioning, Isaac Tigrit told Tom Jones that Sathya Sai Baba had given him the crystal skull, along with specific instructions on how it should be aligned. The box with the skull had been affixed to the pyramid in such a way that it could have a strong cosmic impact on the world, which would be magnified by the pyramid. Isaac Tigrit warned that having removed the skull could upset the cosmic balance of the world and requested that Tom Jones return it to him immediately. Tom Jones refused, arguing that the ownership contract the city had signed with Sidney Shlenker and Isaac's father after Shlenker went bankrupt said anything that was permanently affixed to the building was now the property of the county government. The Tigrit family went above Jones's head and spoke directly to Mayor Bill Morris, urging him to return the crystal skull to Isaac. Mayor Morris agreed, and the finance department was directed to return the skull to Isaac Tigrit, and it was never seen again. And it did seem like the pyramid was cursed. After the catastrophe of the sewage system backing up on opening night, nothing got better. Due to the open vaulted ceilings, the acoustics were terrible, and the building had an echo, which led some performers to refuse to play there. Also due to this, the sound and lighting systems had to be constantly upgraded. They made the seats too narrow to increase the arena's seating capacity, making the seats incredibly uncomfortable. And the angle of the stairs was too steep and people would fall down them in the dark. And tragically, a stagehand fell off some rigging and died. The Memphis Pyramid did hold some notable events and concerts, though. The Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson boxing match was held there, the Rolling Stones and Fish played sold-out concerts in the pyramid, and WWF hosted events in the pyramid. But it was costing the city a fortune to maintain and operate, and since the only team that played there regularly was the Memphis University basketball team, the city needed to attract a large team to play there regularly to try and make the stadium financially viable. In 2001, the city of Memphis began trying to lure the Vancouver Grizzlies or the Charlotte Hornets basketball teams to move to Memphis. At this point, Pyramid Arena was quite old and would have required some serious upgrading to host an NBA team long term. The Vancouver Grizzlies agreed to move to Memphis on the condition that a new stadium was built, and the reasonable upgrades took place on Pyramid Arena in the meantime. The city of Memphis spent $7 million upgrading Pyramid Arena, where the Memphis Grizzlies played for 3 seasons, before moving to the new FedEx Forum Stadium in 2004. The Memphis Pyramid hosted a few more concerts after the Grizzlies moved out, but it ended up officially closing its doors in 2007 and earning the nickname the Tomb of Doom from locals. In 2005, John Morris, owner of Bass Pro Shop, was on a Mississippi River fishing trip with some friends. The Memphis Pyramid was already struggling financially at this point, and the city was looking to sell. He had been discussing the idea of converting the Memphis Pyramid into a Bass Pro Shop, but wasn't able to make a decision. So he told his friends, if we catch a big catfish today, it was meant to be. If we don't, that's a sign maybe we better keep fishing and not worry about the pyramid. On November 10th, 2005, Jack Emmett caught a 34-pound blue catfish on the Mississippi River, and according to John Morris, the catch was almost under the shadow of the pyramid. After 5 years of negotiations, on June 30th, 2010, the city of Memphis and Bass Pro Shop signed an agreement for a 55-year lease of the pyramid, and on June 21st, 2012, John Morris hosted a construction kickoff celebration inside the empty arena after a $215 million financing deal had been finalized to renovate and revitalize the former arena. On April 29th, 2015, Bass Pro Shop Pyramid opened its doors to the public. In addition to being a massive Bass Pro Shop retail location, the pyramid now featured an archery range, BB gun shooting range, laser arcade, an Uncle Buck's fishbowl and grill that's now a Wahlburgers Wild, which has a bowling alley, and 600,000 gallons of water features, which include a saltwater aquarium and an indoor swamp. It also has America's tallest freestanding elevator, which takes visitors up to the top of the pyramid, where there are indoor and outdoor observation decks, as well as a restaurant and bar called The Lookout, which also has its own aquarium. At the base of the pyramid, there's a 100-room hotel called the Big Cypress Lodge, which has outdoor persons-themed rooms. In its first year of operation, the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid drew 3 million visitors, and on average has produced $45 to $55 million in yearly revenue. It wasn't revenue. I was supposed to say sales. It was supposed to be $45 to $55 million in yearly sales. That was really hard, and I can't keep doing this. I've spent like days doing this, so that's the version I'm going to go with. That's the version I'm going to post. This is the version you're seeing right now. What did you think about that? Did you like it? Should I start chopping these videos up a little bit more and doing them in sections, or do you like watching me try and piece my way through an entire 13-minute monologue? I really don't know which way I want to go with these long-form YouTube videos, so drop me a comment, give me some feedback, let me know what you think about this, how it was, and I'll try and make sure the next one's better. I love listening to the feedback, so yeah, drop me a comment and, I don't know, tell me how it was. That was really hard. Oh man, that was really hard. That took a lot of work.